Let's make an oyster shell angel Christmas ornament today. I'm using a larger shell for the body and then two smaller ones for the wings, and then a cute rock for the head. Now, this rock is called a hagstone or holy rock, and I find these all over my beach, especially after a storm. And you'll see why I picked this one in just a minute. The center shell that I'm using for the body has a deeper cup shape, and I want that facing out, but it doesn't really matter what side you use. You just do what you want. Once I have the shells where I want them, I just want to hold them together with a little bit of hot glue, which just keeps them in place and keeps them from moving around. You don't need very much hot glue, but once you get the hot glue on the shell, just hold the shell, the two pieces together until the glue sets a little bit and they're not moving around. Now, let's talk about this rock. Holy stones get their names because erosion over time wears cavities and holes in the softer parts of the rock. Some folklore says that these rocks have healing powers and they're magical. But do you see why I picked this one in particular? Now, for the angel head, she looks like she is singing to the heavens. I'm using the J Diction high viscosity resin because it is a little bit thicker and it stays put before it cures. It doesn't run everywhere, in other words. And then I have a Let's Resin UV resin curing flashlight, which is really cool and handy, and it's very, very portable. You can take it anywhere. So I don't want to use very much of the UV resin, but just enough to give me a good bond and make sure that everything is holding together really well. And this sticks really well to oyster shells and it holds everything in place. The UV resin flashlight doesn't have like a timer on it, so I'm just holding it on long enough to where the resin is not, no longer running. And then I'm going to pop it under the Let's Resin UV resin curing lamp for a full 2-minute cycle, front and back. Now, every angel needs a pretty halo, right? So I'm going to use T Expert's UV dip resin to do this. First, I make a loop using the wire that comes with the kit, but you want to make sure to leave a little bit of a tail at the end so you can secure the halo to the back of the rock when you are finished. The dip resin is really, really thick and it clings to the wire hoop, kind of like bubbles that kids play with. You pop it under the UV resin lamp and you have this tiny little halo. I did dip it twice to make it nice and thick though. Then I used colored UV resin to give it a little bit of extra bling. And then I popped that under the lamp for a full 2-minute cure. So I'm using the Tea Expert dip resin, and then the colored resin is what I have from Lightwish. And I have a link to all of this in the description below the video. Now it's time to attach her halo to the back of her head. I also cut a short length of satin ribbon to use as a hanger, and I'm really glad I remembered that because I almost forgot. I'm attaching the halo first with a little bit of UV resin, and I'm using the lamp this time so I can prop it up while I work. It's, kind of a hands-free approach. Now, I know there are better and bigger lamps out there, but this is what I have, and it is working just fine for me. I do the same thing to attach the ribbon and then just leave it under the lamp for a full 2-minute cure. When it's done, I just very, very gently bend the halo in place. I used a black acrylic marker to draw on her eyes. So she's singing to the heavens, her eyes are closed, and I just draw on these little eyes right there. And now it looks like an angel and less like a random rock that I picked up on the beach. Now, we could call it a day right here because the angel's finished. She's really cute, but she just needs a little something extra. I've been using a lot of the Win Modern Art powders lately, and this Paradise pastry will be perfect because it tends to shift colors a little bit depending on the light. Now, I've never used it with UV resin before, but it mixes right in and cures amazingly well with absolutely no issues whatsoever. I started out using it just on the angel body, but then I thought, well, what the heck? Let's make her wings glow too, because I think that is a perfect look for an angel. What do you think? I gave her two full 2-minute cures, so a total of 4 minutes under the UV resin curing lamp, and she is done. But here is the best part. Use a little bit of light to charge up those glow powders, and look what happens when you turn off the light. Look at her glow. And this is just from 10 seconds under a UV resin lamp. It's really truly amazing. You charge it up and it glows for hours. How cool will this look on the Christmas tree? She's pretty by herself, but the glow powders really just add that magical angel touch. So let me know what you think, and always make it a crafty day, friends. Bye.